Hey, I'm Kim Matone, licensed clinical mental health counselor and co-founder of Matone Counseling and Testing. We are here for our episode with Raindrops on Roses, and Matt's here, a counselor here at our Cotswold location. First of all, Matt, welcome.
Thank you.
And I want to know what made you decide to become a counselor?
This is a interesting story. So, in my own personal life, 13 years ago, I went into treatment for substance use and alcohol use disorder, and completed that, was successful, and then proceeded to, after I got out, kind of like work various odds and ends jobs, and realized about like 5 or 6 years ago that I wasn't very fulfilled anymore by what I was doing. And I had always kind of wanted to use my lived experience and make something with it. And I decided to go back to school. So I went to CPCC and did their substance use counseling program. And in that process, I did, internships, one at McLeod, one at Anuvia.
Okay.
Didn't really love my experiences. It was kind of like eye-opening, sad. Those are kind of like public detox and public treatment. And it's kind of like a segment of the population that doesn't really get their needs met.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And in conversations with my advisor at that time of like what I wanted to do with this, I was going to, you only get your associates at CPCC. So I was going to do a peer support specialist, or maybe I think at the time they called it a certified substance abuse counselor. And she was like, I think you should go into social work. So I did that. And I went to UNCC, went to graduate school, and got my undergraduate, and then decided to get my master's in social work.
Okay, great.
And became a licensed clinical social worker.
Yeah, so you went. I like that. I think that's really great for people to know also of how a community college can be part of, can be a stepping stone into that, to all the way getting your master's.
Yeah, and it saved a lot of money. And, I did it as an adult. I was 36 years old, 37 years old when I decided to do that. So I had already, my parents weren't paying for it, and I had to do it by myself. Yeah. So it was just kind of like the best option.
Yeah. Never too late.
Never too late.
To follow your passion.
Yeah.
And so often I believe that, just like with my own experience, I feel that if I have lived experience, it can very well help other people.
Yeah.
You mentioned in your bio, that the only way is through.
Only way out is through.
Only way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only way out is through. So tell me about that. What's that mean?
When you experience trauma or mental health distress in any way, like, you can only get so far by navigating around it. Eventually, you have to kind of like get in the muck and untangle your experience and how you went through something, and how people in your life treated you, how the support that you had. And that's what that means. Like, the only way out of it is through it. Like, we can put a Band-Aid on anything, but if you don't kind of examine your issue or your trauma, then the solution is so much harder.
Yeah, great. What type of clients do you typically see?
I see pretty much everybody. I don't really do a lot of, it's easier to talk about like what I don't see. I don't really see eating disorders. It's just, I feel like there's a level of care that I can't provide there. But I see couples, I see queer people, I see teenagers, I see middle-aged people. It's kind of like in a range of people.
Right.
My limits aren't, I don't have many limits on that.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes counselors have specialties and they like to specialize in a certain population, and I think that can be wonderful. But I also think a generalist has a lot to offer as well, like you're saying.
And little kids aren't really my thing. Like teenagers, I can do on a case-by-case basis. I enjoy that work. But yeah, I kind of like keep it open. And there's always like, you have to understand your own limitations. And there is like, if you're ever confronted with something that you feel like maybe out of your league a little bit, needs a higher level of care, like please, like refer out. I think it's like really important to understand that there's always somebody else and it may not be you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So tell me a little bit about the substance use disorder clients that you see or folks who are in recovery.
A lot of clients that I see are like on the cusp of making that decision. They're in like they're in contemplation phase. Like they're thinking about making a change and they don't know how to do it. One of the biggest things that we deal with in session with a lot of my clients is like this thought of never being able to do that anymore or again. And I view everything through more of a harm reduction lens. And, you know, I believe abstinence is valuable and it works for a lot of people, but it's not always practical.
Yeah.
And if we can try to like minimize use, which also doesn't work for a lot of people, to control use is not easy. But if we can minimize until we get them to a point where they may be more receptive to taking a break, then that's what I do. But there is like this pervasive, this thing that's comforted me my entire life will not comfort me anymore, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I can't see myself in 20 years not drinking alcohol. I can't see myself in 20 years not using painkillers or, you know, your drug of choice. And it's like, we're not thinking about that now. Like right now we're thinking about this next hour that we have together, what we can do about that, and if we can somehow like get the tools to finish out the rest of the day and then finish out the rest of the week, and then we kind of reassess. And it's not, abstinence isn't a straight line, so it's not, if you slip up you're back at zero. You know, you can have a month of abstinence minus a day, and you really struggled on that day, but we have to figure out what went wrong, dust our shoulders off, get back up, and you know, continue going.
Because so many people have a lot of shame.
Yeah.
In recovery. I mean, I hear that a lot. And I like that you give an alternative to 12-step program, that it's not always sometimes I'll hear like you're gonna either die or you're gonna go to jail,
right,
or this, but it's not always like that.
No, and I'm glad that you brought up 12-step, because it's kind of monopolized recovery, and for good reason. I mean, it's free. The community support is there. It's very valuable. And even when I was in my own recovery in the beginning, I went to 90 meetings in 90 days. I don't subscribe to 12-step anymore, but I that support is so valuable in hearing other people's experience. But you might not die. You might suffer for a really long time, and that is important to know. Like that use kind of can prolong that suffering, and it's not black or white. You can get out of it. Yeah,
because there's always going to be that example of the 95-year-old grandma who drank, every single day of her life, but she lived to be 95. Yeah. Okay. So when a client comes to you and they feel overwhelmed, having a lot of anxiety, how do you approach that?
Validate it right off the bat. Like, acknowledge what you see, what you feel in the room, the energy of the room, and just like let them know that it's real, that we're going to get through it, that we have this hour, this is their space. And then you just kind of like for me, I get more into like the particulars of it. Like what caused this? How is it different from the last time you experienced this? What did you do last time you experienced it? Last time, like I noticed you got through it. Like you did all right. And like let's harness like your past experience with this same issue and recalibrate and move forward.
I know I see a lot of clients. I'll notice like they are anxious about communicating with other people. Like the pandemic made it more difficult for people to communicate, to even go to the grocery store, to order at a restaurant. Do you notice that? With
Absolutely. There's just like anxiety in crowds. Like some people who like used to go to the movie theater all the time don't like going to the movie theater anymore, or concerts anymore. And like it changes, and that's self-care for a lot of people, and it changes the way they approach self-care. People with OCD and, you know, the struggles with germs and cleanliness and all of that. Like we see, I've just seen it get bigger.
Yes. Yeah. And so your approach, as you've shared with me, it's an eclectic approach.
Yeah. I try to pull, I feel like, I'm someone who's been in and out of therapy his whole life. So in saying that, like, what works for me doesn't always work for other people, but I have, in my experience as a therapist, when you get a little bit too clinical, I feel like a lot of clients feel alienated. I can pull from EFT, ACT, CBT, and like reframe and all of that thing, but a lot of people just want a witness to their experience, and they want someone to hear them out and give them an objective lens to look at it through, and just kind of like sit with them and feel that.
Walk with them through their hardships.
And you kind of let them lead. Like I think, you know, in the last episode that you did with Betsy, she had said something about how like the therapeutic relationship is a partnership, it's collaborative, and we have all the time that you need. Like, I'm here for you. If this is not like solution focused, we have to be done with this in 4 weeks. Like, I'm not going to race you to the finish line. Like, it's not, life doesn't work like that. I don't work like that. And sometimes things take 2 years. You know, I have had clients that it has taken 2 years to make like this really huge change. And I'm so proud of them. And sometimes, like, you know, we have imposter syndrome as therapists, and sometimes in the back of our heads we're like, is this really working? Am I doing a good job? And then all of a sudden that person comes in, you're like, you know what, it took 2 years to get here, but it was worth it.
Right.
Like, I'm proud of you that took a big step and a leap. And we can do that with other things.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. How do you create a safe environment for your clients, especially your LGBTQ clients in that community? Yeah,
I feel like as queer people, we feel a lot of resistance in life and a lot of defending our identities and who we are as people and our love, and, you know, with a lot of people like fighting for a place in their own family and fighting to just like live and be and exist. And for me, it's just in my office, I don't question anything about that. You are who you tell me you are. And I believe you. And I know that the world is not black and white. Everything exists in a gray area. And that, you know, people are going to be people, and we have to support, you know, if you're doing no harm to people, like, what is the safest way that you can like express yourself? Sometimes in like note taking, because I have seen trans like kids and teenagers and like in note taking, and they don't want to tell their parents. Right. So it's like very particular about how I note things. And I know you're you're a big proponent on like your teens' rights. So they will feel safe and secure. I have to advocate for them. And, you know, I have, you know, clients who I've had a teenage client not want me to express something to their parent, but not like immediately because they had to take the car ride home and they didn't want the parent to bring it up in the car. So like they'll tell me like email them tomorrow and let them know like this perspective, and like I listen to them and I value that, and I it's very sacred to me, that trust. And I've been here too. I was a kid in therapy and all of these things that I believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like their biggest champion.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay. All right. So I know you're a big film, movie, media guy. I am a big movie buff too. The whole Raindrops on Roses, it's from a song from The Sound of Music. And it's so funny because there's a few people that I've recently known that, well, I've never seen Sound of Music, and you
including
just
myself.
yes, you just shared, you know. So like the assignment is, you know, sometime maybe in the next 2 years, watch it because it is
it's a classic.
It's a 3 hours, a classic, and it does have an intermission.
Yeah.
And back when they used to do intermissions in the theater.
It's crazy because I am a big, in my real life, that's like my self-care is media. I'm like I'm like an encyclopedia of movie knowledge.
Yeah.
That's a blind spot of mine. Yeah.
Well, it kind of seems like might be cheesy and it might be dated, but I think you can watch it knowing that and get what I get out of it, especially the one song.
Yeah.
These are a few of my favorite things. Mm-hmm. That's a comforting song for me.
Yeah.
It's about resilience and hope. Is there some type of media that brings that you like recommend?
So there's this show that was on HBO a couple years ago called The Leftovers, and there's 3 seasons of it. I recommend with a heavy content warning because it is a very heavy show, but it's essentially about a small town, and 1% of the population one day just disappears. And nobody knows what happened. There really are no answers. They have just disappeared. And it is about dealing with ambiguous loss and grief and not having answers to these huge like existential questions that we have, and being okay in that and finding peace within each other and offering space for other people to connect with, and like what that feels like to not have an answer and lose everybody and have that disconnect, and how we find each other and how other people interpret that loss. And like it's just a very I don't know, it's about resilience, it's about pain, it's about happiness, it's about joy, it's about like moving on and moving forward, and just kind of like the ambiguity of life.
Yeah. How do you see so how do you see resilience and hope in your own clients? And what would you kind of leave people with today?
I see resiliency and hope in the continued effort to get better. No matter how like slow or fast that process is, like just showing up for yourself is vital. It's an act of resistance. It is. We are so inundated with like what other people are doing and the world and work and capitalism and like managing our own lives and loss, and like being able to take the step to talk to somebody and then continuously show up and then do the work is just it's so hopeful for me. And not everybody is made out for it. Like some people, like you as therapists, like we lose clients along the way, and we worry about them and we hope them. And last year one of my clients died by suicide, and that was just very hard. But there is like, I can use him and like what I do, like moving forward, and show up for other people and check in with them and just like follow through and make sure that I'm present and I could take care of myself a little bit better in the process. But like I'm so proud of people that get to that point where they're like, I'm going to show up for myself and make a change and untangle my trauma and my hardship. And all of
Yeah.
that. So
And when some of them come back week after week,
Mhm.
month after month, and and we see the growth.
yeah,
And sometimes it's just small steps, but we
Yeah.
see it.
yeah. It's inspiring. I use it in my own therapy, and it's special, and I'm lucky to be able to do what I do.
Yeah. So how do you take care of yourself? Last question.
I'm working on it. I'm not always the best, but my husband and I travel a lot. We see a lot of live music. So in April, we're going to the UK to see a couple shows for my favorite artist, and we just got back from Sundance Film Festival in early February. My brothers and I and some really close friends quarterly we have a mountain house, we get together and we kind of just like are present with each other for a weekend every
Great.
4 months. So,
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. So I know you're working hard, but
Yeah.
you're playing hard
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And we've got to have that balance, especially as counselors, to treat people.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm abstinent from drugs and alcohol in my personal life, so that is work, and it's healing to like live every day without like the oppression of addiction and all of that. So
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. Well, that really concludes our time today. And thank you so much for being with us. And thank you for joining Raindrops on Roses.
Thank you for having-
Matone's
yeah.
Raindrops on
Thank you for having me.
Roses.